From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aishah Ashraf. Our top story for today: 3 major terrorism incidents have taken place in the last 2 days. The FBI says the U.S. Army veteran who killed at least 15 people, including a Muslim, and injured 35 others in New Orleans was the major incident. The suspect, identified as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar of Texas, served in Afghanistan. He had a history of drunk driving and spousal abuse, who plotted to kill his family before this attack. The second incident in Las Vegas in front of Trump Hotel was an active duty soldier with the U.S. Army late Wednesday. He is 37-year-old Matthew Leibelsberger from Colorado Springs. On January 1st, it was announced that the FBI had arrested Brad Spafford with 150 explosive devices. Spafford was doing target practice on President Biden's photo. In the past 24 hours, 60 Palestinians have been killed in ongoing Israeli attacks across the Gaza Strip. The strikes have included severe bombardment of the designated humanitarian zone of Al-Mawasi in southern Gaza. Civil defense officials in Gaza said an overnight airstrike killed the territory's former police chief, Mahmoud Salah, and his deputy, Hussam Shahwan. In central Gaza and the southern strip, an Israeli strike killed 13 displaced people, including women and children in a tent. On New Year's Eve, 15 Palestinians were killed in an airstrike on a house in the northern town of Jabalia. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz issued a warning to Hamas, threatening significant military retaliation if attacks on Israel do not cease and captives are not freed. Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 45,581 Palestinians and wounded 108,438 since October 7th, 2023. The death toll likely is much higher, with an estimated 10,000 bodies trapped beneath the rubble caused by Israel's continuous bombing over the past 15 months. Gaza's population has declined by 6% since the onset of Israel's war. Roughly 100,000 Palestinians have left the enclave, while more than 55,000 are believed to have been killed, per data from the Palestinian Central Bureau of Statistics. In November, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. Israel also faces a genocide case at the International Court of Justice for its deadly war on Gaza. The Palestinian government temporarily suspended all activities of Al Jazeera network in the West Bank, citing violations in their broadcasting content. This decision, announced by a ministerial committee, including members from the Ministries of Culture, Interior, and Communications, halts the channel's broadcasts and freezes its operations. Al Jazeera is accused of promoting violence and disseminating misleading information, particularly in its coverage of conflicts such as recent unrest in the Jenin refugee camp. The suspension will remain until the network aligns with Palestinian regulations. This action echoes similar measures by Israel, which previously shut down Al Jazeera's Ramallah office, intensifying media scrutiny amid regional tensions. The top federal prosecutor for the nation's capital has decided to step down before President-elect Donald Trump takes office. Matthew Graves said serving as a U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia has been the honor of a lifetime. Graves' resignation will take effect on January 16th. Bridget M. Fitzpatrick will become acting U.S. attorney until a successor to Graves is nominated by Trump and approved by the Senate. Graves was confirmed by the Senate on October 28, 2021, and was sworn in as a U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia on November 5th that year. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper has commuted the death sentences of 15 inmates to life in prison without the possibility of parole on his final day in office. No inmate has been executed in the state since 2006 due to ongoing litigation. The inmates or representatives petitioned for clemency following complicated convictions. The state has 136 offenders on death row, and the governor's clemency office received petitions for clemency from 89 of them. Many inmates petitioned under the Racial Justice Act of 2009. This act allowed inmates to seek resentencing. Cooper said he selected a small group of inmates for commutations due to various factors, including a defendant's mental capacity at the time of the crime. House GOP shields Netanyahu from ICC in contentious rules package. Details come after the break. Stay tuned and we will be right back. Welcome back. As the GOP-controlled House of Representatives gears up for its 119th session, a significant controversy has emerged within its ranks. Thomas Massie publicly criticized a component of the proposed rules package designed to protect Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu from International Criminal Court prosecution. This reaction follows the ICC's decision to issue arrest warrants for Netanyahu and other prominent figures for their roles in the Gaza war. The contentious bill, labeled as a special protection provision for Netanyahu, has sparked debate among Republicans. Marjorie Taylor Greene has also voiced her opposition. The rules package includes changes like the reestablishment of panels and promotion of electronic voting. It is set for a vote immediately after the new speaker's election. The internal discord highlights the GOP's broader struggle with prioritizing international relations and national sovereignty in their legislative agenda. Under the American Service Members Protection Act, also known as the Hague Invasion Act, Biden can use any means necessary to release Americans or allies held by the ICC. This authority soon will pass to President-elect Donald Trump. Both Biden and Trump have criticized the ICC's arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Israel's ex-defense chief Yoav Gallant. Meanwhile, a few progressives, including Rashida Tlaib, have supported the warrants. Tlaib, a vocal critic of Israel's actions in Gaza and the only Palestinian American in Congress, also criticized the U.S. for its extensive military support to Israel. After 23 years without a trial, Rida bin Saleh al-Yazidi, the last Tunisian detainee at Guantanamo Bay, has been repatriated to Tunisia. Captured near the Afghanistan-Pakistan border after the September 11, 2001 attacks, al-Yazidi was among the first prisoners when the detention center opened in 2002. He was considered a high-risk detainee and representative of Al-Qaeda in Tunisia, having fought in Bosnia and maintained links with extremist groups. His repatriation was delayed due to security concerns in Tunisia and his refusal to be transferred elsewhere. In 2005, al-Yazidi was sentenced in absentia by a military court in Tunisia under the 2003 anti-terrorism law for his involvement with a terrorist organization. The court issued a 20-year prison sentence along with additional years of administrative surveillance and the revocation of his civil rights. His transfer leaves 26 detainees in Guantanamo, with the U.S. continuing to process releases and transfers. U.S. President Joe Biden recently signed the 2025 defense spending bill, endorsing $895 billion in funding and extending the Uyghur Human Rights Policy Act another 5 years. Key measures in the act include monitoring human rights abuses in China's Xinjiang and imposing sanctions on Chinese officials linked to genocide against Uyghurs. The bipartisan legislation, championed by Senators Marco Rubio and Jeff Markley, aims to heighten pressure to halt the atrocities in Chinese-occupied eastern Turkestan. Additionally, the defense bill prevents U.S. military funds from purchasing solar products made in the region. The Uyghur region is known for forced labor issues and mandates a Pentagon review on the procurement of potentially slave labor seafood. Uyghur American activists represented by Umar Qanat of the Uyghur Human Rights Project hailed the legislation as a significant step towards justice. Anthony Vo, a 32-year-old American sentenced for his involvement in the U.S. Capitol riot, has fled to Canada seeking political asylum. Vo claims the riot was a peaceful protest twisted into a plot against Donald Trump and his supporters. Insisting on his persecution for political beliefs, Vo expressed hope for a pardon from Trump, who has touted rioters as patriots. Vo's mother, also involved in the riot, awaits trial after seeking asylum from Vietnam in 1991. Vo, previously considering asylum in multiple countries, now seeks refuge in Canada and is hopeful of a safer return under a Trump administration. Iran's foreign ministry called in Saudi Arabia's ambassador to protest the recent execution of 6 Iranians for drug trafficking. Delivering a stern protest note, Iran slammed the executions as a breach of judicial cooperation norms between the nations. The executed, sentenced years ago, received consular support from Iran, which sought to commute their sentences. Tehran criticized Riyadh for not informing the Iranian embassy before the executions, labeling it a violation of international law. A legal consular team from Iran is set to visit Saudi Arabia to address the issue directly. Historically, tense relations between the two countries worsened by past incidents such as the execution of Shia cleric Nimr al-Nimr in 2016. Diplomatic ties were restored in 2023 after a China-mediated agreement. In Russia's remote Magadan region, Tajik migrants have reported being forced to work under slave-like conditions on a cattle farm. The group of 10, tricked by a promise of well-paid jobs, now find themselves without pay and stripped of their passports by their employer, who allegedly refuses to return them. These migrants, including 2 with valid work permits, are nearing the end of their 90-day visa-free stay in Russia. Their situation highlights wider vulnerabilities of Central Asian migrants in Russia. The migrants told media outlets the farm owner took their passports when they arrived. At least 1 million Tajik migrants work in Russia, many of them working in physically demanding jobs in factories, construction sites, and the agriculture sector. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.